lady falling over a vehicle or being knocked over by one, but that's she seems to be okay. She's now stood up. But I mean, these are just unbelievable visuals that we are bringing you this morning. But now let's go to Soweto and find out from Chriselda. Not looting happening there, Chriselda, is there? Because there's nothing left in this shopping centre. Talk to us about what you're seeing.
All right, Leanne, the situation here is still very tense in Diepkloof in Soweto. You'd be able to see right here behind me, every single shop has been looted here. Police have actually left the spot now, where you can actually see residents have once again come into this particular area, and are now continuing to go into the shops and trying to take whatever it is that they want. Police had been here just a few moments ago, and they've just disappeared. The security here also at the Diepkloof Square. Let's move towards that direction here. You see some of the looting is taking place. The police have completely left the spot. All right, we move towards this direction. Stones are being pelted from where I am at the moment. You see residents running towards that direction, trying to be pushed back by what is just one JMPD, Johannesburg Metro Police Department truck. Every time they try to come to this particular area, it seems that police are unable to contain the situation. We're going to try and speak to some of the workers here and find out. Sanibonani njani? Nisebenza lana sis? Hawu nizizwa kanjani sisingayo yonke lento?
Kubuhlungu kakhulu nje ukuthi silahlekelwe imisebenzi ngento esingayazi ukuthi why besithathela ukudla kwethu. Thina ingane zethu zosala zilambile bona bayodla.
Yafuna sifane nabo ngoba nje bangabahlela emalokishini nathi sihlala emalokishini njengabo masimbabo. Thina abanye sibhadala amarente thina abanye asazi manje siyophila kanjani ngendaba yabo ngoba bona abasebenzi sinabantwana
has just Leanne, this is absolutely devastating here. Someone has just been beaten to the ground here. It seems now there's a scuffle between. It seems now there's a scuffle between. Careful. Let's move towards this direction. Seems to be a scuffle now between the residents who don't want the looting to continue here. You heard some of those who work at some of the establishments here saying that they have now lost their jobs, and at this particular point they're very concerned about the situation here. I mean, just, Leanne, very few police officers at this particular point here. There's absolutely nothing that they can do about the situation, because from where I'm standing, every time they move to one particular direction, as we had been reporting from yesterday as well, they try to move to one area and then the looting continues in different aspects. So what you're having now is workers, for example, like those that I've just spoken to a few moments ago, who are indicating that they're very aggrieved by what is taking place. They have nothing to do with these protests. Now they've basically lost their bread and butter. I think of major concern as well, many talking about the economic impact of what is taking place, because clearly these shops are not going to be able to open anytime soon. The damage on its own, without being an economist, you could clearly see is something that is going to range within millions and millions of rand. The ATMs here, every single one of them has been destroyed here at the Diepkloof Square. And I'll actually talk to some of that. I mean, we showed you this a bit earlier on. Maybe we could move towards that particular direction with my colleague so that we could speak to some of those ATMs, butcheries, the local McDonald's here. That has also been completely destroyed. And what we'd indicated a bit earlier on, you have to more of a cat and mouse a situation where you're moving from one area to the other. Very difficult to try and cover every single aspect, because the minute you move to one area, you actually find that in other areas as well, that's where the violence is continuing. Old Mutual, African Bank. There's clearly not going to be any operations taking place here anytime soon. So let me just try and go in here and just have a look. You'd see here, this is Old Mutual. Old Mutual, absolutely, probably nothing to loot here, but everything basically destroyed. Windows, doors, everything. And I'll show you of particular interest as well, Leanne. If we come towards this direction, you'd see here the ATMs at this particular spot completely destroyed here. It's a shot that we tried to show you a little bit earlier on. I'll take you there in just a few seconds. So every single ATM, irrespective of the branch or bank, all of that completely destroyed. You could see that absolute force, take a look here, absolute force being used to destroy what is taking place here. You see someone also still inside here at the back of these ATMs. Police are not in a position, keyboards or keypads, everything, anything that they could basically get their hands on has been completely destroyed. So it's going to be very difficult. I mean, one would have, I guess, thought that the sentiments shared by the president yesterday in calling for calm and restoration of some kind of peace and stability, that certainly didn't seem to help. And most importantly, with the South African National Defence Force indicating that they're going to deploy in areas of concern. KwaZulu-Natal, we've seen the deployment there. In Gauteng, take a look here. Here you go. More looting. Police now firing rubber bullets. The situation here completely out of control. That looks like the security from this area who is now firing bullets. They're trying to get them out of the mall at this stage. A bit of cat and mouse, because every time they try to do that, take a look, that is the security guard who is firing at this particular point. And here's the one firing at this point. They're basically trying to get those who are participating in the looting out of, but there's nothing left to salvage here. There is nothing left to salvage here because everything has been taken. Clothes, food, anything. In the local pharmacy here, I see the Clicks. That too has been completely destroyed. So it's a tough situation at the moment where a criminal element clearly has now, taking a look at some of the headlines that you read a bit earlier on this morning, Leanne, from the newspapers. I saw one of them, I think it was the Citizen, that had basically said this was the looting or, violence without a cause. That is a sentiment that is being shared at the moment because those who are now bearing the brunt of the ongoing violence that we are seeing are certainly individuals who are working in these shops, who are complaining about what is taking place. The local KFC here as well, Steers, Debonair's Pizza, everything. Take a look. I mean, nobody really cares here. That plastic coming out of Clicks, almost as if it's been purchased, been packaged quite well. So whatever it is that was needed was clearly taken. Police completely do not have a handle over the situation here. This is exactly what's taking place here now. We're probably going to have to move to one of the other areas that has been affected. But from where we are at this particular point, it certainly seems like it's going to take a very long time for restoration or trying to get these shops up and running again. And remember as well, here police trying to chase police trying to, here we have an arrest. Police trying to arrest us, go a bit closer. A lot of screaming. More shots being fired. That one being let go, being told to leave. Oh. All right, they're being chased out of the mall at this particular stage. Take a look there, fleeing in the middle of the road, some of the cars. Leanne, of concern, you were talking about someone who was just bumped over by a car. The situation itself so dangerous because while the private security here, as well as the police fire, it's just scatter everywhere. Everyone basically fleeing in different directions. The looting itself continues. Every time police try to get everyone out of the mall, they come right back again, completely overpowered in terms of what they can do, in terms of the manpower that police themselves have. So residents standing there, clearly at this point trying, all right, more stones being thrown, I think. Stones are also being flung at this particular point. Just take a look there. Residents fleeing, keep throwing stones at the security here. We're also just trying to remain a bit safe. So this private security guard is on his own at this particular point. This right here at the entrance, he's on his own. He's the only one who's armed at this particular point. More police I can hear from a certain direction coming this particular way, perhaps to try and come and assist. But we'll just try and have a look towards that direction as well. But the looting itself continues. On one end, members of the community. On the other hand, whom we've spoken to, residents, or in fact, all right, more stones being thrown. Let me just try to move away. Right next to us. Colleagues, be careful. Stay together. Leanne, trying to work with some of our colleagues as well, other broadcasters. We really have to, I guess, a story for another day, where we literally have to stand in one part to try and protect each other as well. I'm going to speak to some of these workers as well. Njengabantu abasebenzayo lana abakantsheli sisi ukuthi kuyobuyelwa nini ngiyabona ukuthi yonke into seyimoshakele nje nisizwa kanjani omunye usise besithi yena hayi inhliziyo zenu zibhlungu impela nje cela ufake imask baba siyacela emhlonishwa ngokuhloniphekeliyo kakhulu alright siyabonga
siphatheke kabuhlungu kakhulu especially imisebenzi yethu manje siyohlala emakhaya sazi ukuthi siyophinde sisebenze noma ngesiphinde sisebenze asazi noma izovulwa amashop siyohlala emakhaya asinakudla asinalutho ibhlungu inhliziyo zethu asazi nama rent ukuthi siwabhadala ngani ngoba siya renta inhliziyo zethu zibhlungu kakhulu
omunye baba
mina ngisho straight fuck ANC
sir, we must apologize for the swearing there. So unfortunately, there is we have to abide by the rules. Siyacela, you can put your point across, sir, without swearing. Other people will not appreciate it. Yeah.
If it wasn't for Zuma and shit and everything, life would have been fine. But now listen, people are suffering now because of what? One person. No, fuck off there.
All right, we must apologize for that, Leanne. Obviously, them airing their views. It's live television. We have absolutely no control over that. But the sentiment being shared, like I indicated, on the one hand, just take a look. These are the workers who are affected here. These are the workers who, I guess, for a couple of months now, are not going to have any form of employment. And obviously, no work, no pay. You heard some of them say they're worried about how they're going to be able to pay their rent. It's going to be a tough a couple of months. Already in an economy itself that is seriously buckling under the effects of COVID-19. But these are the faces. These are the faces of those. I see a medical, an emergency medical services, an ambulance being brought in here. I'm just going to go and have a look at perhaps if anyone is coming in here to try and get assistance, perhaps. What we had previously seen was just someone who had been hurt, who'd been hit on the head. All right, it's turning away at the moment. I think they were just basically here to try and see if there was anyone who needed some assistance. So That's what the situation is at this particular point. I think, ukhona umuntu olimele baba? Iphoyisa limele. Liana, understand that there's a police officer who has been injured here. That's why the that's why the ambulance has come through at this point, and that's exactly it. The president also indicating yesterday, you'd recall, sending well wishes to those who had been injured, 4 police officers, if my memory serves me well. That is the police officer who has been injured. It really is a tough situation. That is the ambulance that is reversing. You'll see he will receive some treatment here now. We're going to try and give a bit of space. We won't go a bit too close, but here, this police officer, this is exactly what is taking place. Those who are trying to restore law and order are also now coming under attack. And this is the paramedics who have been brought in to try and assist this police officer. I'll try to find out exactly what the extent of his injuries are at this particular point. But most importantly, I think him trying to receive that care at this particular point is most important. And he will be taken out into the ambulance. Now, these are live pictures from the Diepkloof Square. A helicopter also hovering, which I think will certainly focus on that visual at the moment. He looks to be in excruciating pain at this particular point. Looks like he really is in tears, Leanne. And while that takes place, the pelting of stones continues. The looting continues. Police trying to manage the situation. 2 paramedics assisting the police officer who has been injured here at the Diepkloof Square in Soweto.
All right, thanks to Chriselda Lewis there, just reporting from, as you've heard, Diepkloof, where devastating scenes are unfolding. And what I find quite difficult is that the police cannot get a hold on this. It's almost beyond them. As you heard Chriselda saying, they go in, they try, then the crowds disperse, and from another direction, another crowd comes in. And yeah. So.
But we need answers. This has happened for a number of days in a sustained fashion. Last night, the president addresses the nation, and he says, and I want to quote him, among other things, the National Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure, known as the NAT Joints, has intensified deployment in all the affected areas in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. Now, I'm asking you with tears in my navy blue eyes, where has the protection been intensified? Yeah. If you look at what's happening on Queen Nandi Drive right now, where is the intelligence? Because you should have known that that's going to happen. Yeah. Where is the support for those police officers on the ground? You spoke about the deployment of the army. You spoke to an SANDF communications person who said they are on the ground.
And that was one of the questions I asked him. So people were writing in and saying to me, okay, but where are they exactly, and has anyone seen them? And then, of course, the Brigadier General was saying to me, no, we have pictures of them there. They're there.
So where are they?
But where are they? That's what we're asking. But we haven't got any visuals or pictures of them. In fact, if you have got, please send them to us, and so we can actually visually see the SANDF on the ground. But if you missed a bit earlier, visuals that were coming out of KwaZulu-Natal, and that was on Queen Nandi Drive, we saw looters literally crossing over a bridge with... I don't even know how to describe it.
Whatever they could find.
Fridges, mattresses, food. You name it, food. They were all going
laundry baskets,
to the warehouses. So they've looted the shops. Now they're moving to the warehouses. And our team have had to leave because of the situation was just too unstable. I mean, this was where we crossed away. I mean, I actually saw a lady being knocked over by a vehicle, but then jumping up and standing up and carrying on walking. But I mean, that's the kind of situation. And it is just too much for the police to handle. We saw that. They can't get a grip on this.
But what does that mean? If you say this is too much for the police to handle. And we go through a list of reasons why. They are understaffed, perhaps incapacitated by just the sheer numbers that they have to deal with, the volatility of the situation. We can run through a whole rubric of things that we can tick off against. But why is that the case? Why is this happening? Because after the president spoke last night, you would have thought that, okay,
we would have woken up to a different scene this morning.
Maybe things would be different this morning. They are not. Why?
It's intensifying and it's getting worse. I mean, I'm getting a report coming now from, this is out of Tshwane. So police are at the scene at the Mums Mall in Mamelodi. This is in the east of Pretoria, where looters are picking up basically what is left of the carcass of a building. The mall was looted last night with a bank, ATMs, and all of the shops broken into and plundered. And a burnt-out police vehicle is parked outside the mall. So they have now burnt the police station, and the only evidence of police being on the scene last night is that burnt-out police car. Videos were shared on social media of the looting taking place in Attridgeville and in Soshanguve in the city of Tshwane, and police have refused to comment on the situation. They say that they will hold a press briefing a bit later. In fact, that's what's happening right now in KwaZulu-Natal.
With the Premier Sihle Zikalala. But, you know, the story is